Welcome to CineBites, a cinematic culinary podcast where we experience the wonders and beauty of cinema with our eyes and explore the unique and glorious cuisine in those films with our taste buds. Today we are journeying through the enchanting world of Middle-earth once again with The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Get ready for a second course of cinematic adventure where film and food unite in a way that's as epic as the journey to Mordor. So grab your limbus bread, tighten your armor, and let's delve into the epic blend of movies and meals in this fantastical tale. Feast your eyes. All right,
we are back.
Number 2 for the marathon.
Lord of the Rings.
We're
on the marathon.
Number 2. Yeah.
This is fun. I love doing this marathon.
Yeah, in our first marathon for like movie sequences and stuff, because with Guardians of the Galaxy, we started with the third. And we could have marathoned it, but I mean, it was still a good one to start off with as the third, because I can't recall if the first two have foods in it. I imagine they do.
Sure we might return to that. But if this is the first of a trilogy that we're doing, if there's a trilogy or just a movie series that you want to see us do another marathon of, let us know, comment, DM, whatever.
Yeah, message us.
We might do it. So
because I've
there's
already
lots
had
of different trilogies out there,
and I've had some suggestions. So we'll have to talk more about that.
I've heard some suggestions too. So
we can definitely
might get to that.
Yeah,
but
definitely
for
do
now,
this more.
We're doing Lord of the Rings,
The Two Towers. The Two Towers.
This movie for me, I mean, is still so good. Obviously, we talked about it last time. The first one is my favorite. And then I'll talk about it a little bit later. I don't want to reveal in the ranking. I don't think I revealed my full ranking yet.
For
all three movies.
No, you haven't yet. I think we're going to reveal it as it goes, because I haven't either.
I don't think I have, so I'm not going to reveal that yet till my spicy take. Because I think it's a little bit of a spicy take.
Yeah, because my spicy take is a little bit of a spicy take too. So we'll have to see.
So anyway. So I guess we could just jump right into the food.
Yeah.
Waste no time.
Yeah, of course. And, if you haven't seen Lord of the Rings, first of all, you should. Take out a full
Don't be
weekend.
Like me. You need to see it.
Yeah, go see it.
I didn't see it until recently.
Yeah, because we are going to talk a lot about the film. So if you don't want that spoiled, just be aware that it's going to happen in this episode. Yep. So without further ado,
here comes the food. Yes.
Still didn't take a picture of it, I don't think. But
I know I did take a picture.
Oh, you did?
I did take a picture,
good,
so we're good.
Okay. Yeah.
What we have here is we have a rabbit stew.
Yes.
And we have some lembas bread.
And it's actual rabbit.
It's real rabbit.
And
it's real lembas. Lembas bread.
The fictional lembas bread is real.
It's the real thing.
Yeah. So we're going to eat it. It's very simple. Bread and stew.
And we have an ale.
Yes.
We have an ale.
Got a good old ale on the side. It's very light. But I haven't even tasted it.
So actually, with this marathon, we're actually kind of doing a kind of a marathon with the food as well. The first episode was our appetizer.
Yes.
Second episode is our main course. And the third episode, spoilers, is going to be a dessert. I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're going to have some rabbit stew.
And I like that you thought about that, having different courses for, just kind of.
And it actually worked out that there was a main course, an appetizer, and a dessert in those movies. In that order.
So when we marathon this again, we could even do the same style of, different
if we do a different marathon.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's kind of like a beef vegetable stew with potatoes. I'm pretty sure they had potatoes in it.
I'm already making a mess.
Yeah, did we have napkins? It's all over there.
Always forget.
They're
napkins.
in here, but they're over there. Okay. So anyway, in the movie, there's the one scene where Sam and Frodo and Gollum.
I think get napkins.
I think Gollum's with them at this point. And they need some food, and so they kill some rabbits, and then...
Yeah, sorry, hold on.
Oh.
Yeah, no, so he's definitely with them because he wanted to eat the rabbit.
Oh, that's right. He wanted to eat them raw. He's like, why would you cook it? You're ruining it.
Yeah, he's
wants
so
to eat
dramatic,
it raw.
and he starts crying about it.
Yeah, and so we made a rabbit stew, just like in the movies.
It's hard to catch a rabbit around here.
Yeah, but I'm going to dip a little bit of the bread in the...
That's a good move. Good
but
right
anyway, if you're wondering where in the movie this food takes place, that's that part.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're kind of struggling because they're having to ration their lembas bread. So they have to think of new ways to sustain themselves.
And actually, when we first talked about doing Lord of the Rings, the first thing that I thought of when it came to food was, one, the lembas bread, but two was the rabbit stew. Yeah, that was the very first thing because it was always
it's probably one of the more significant food moments in the trilogy because they focus on it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
They focus on it for a minute because there's the whole thing about Gollum wanting to eat it raw and everything. But yeah, this is, I mean, it's just like a beef vegetable stew with potatoes, and it's got beef. I said beef twice.
Yeah.
It's got beef in it.
Yeah, it's not actually rabbit. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. I wish we could actually do rabbit.
That would be
awesome.
You
can't buy rabbit at the grocery store. I would too. I'd try it. But,
I imagine you can get it somewhere.
I'm sure, but we didn't have the time nor the will to try and find it, I guess.
Well, and it's not that we, are trying to be lazy, because obviously we want to give you guys good content, i.e. the ostrich and everything. But, when you're marathoning, you kind of have to break it up and, be realistic with it, because it's hard to get, like, a unique thing for every single episode, especially when you're doing a marathon.
Yeah.
So, which is why I like you doing the different courses. I think that really...
Yeah,
really
and it works out that the different courses fit in with their subsequent movies as well. We didn't have to overlap, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
The lembas bread is in every movie, in every one, I think. So
yeah,
I think we're going to have bread. We had bread for the first one. We got it for the second one.
and spoiler, we won't have it for the last one.
We won't because it's dessert.
Just dessert, yeah.
But anyway, I guess we could rank the food.
Mm-hmm.
We're going quick with it.
Rank it. Yeah. I'm going right.
Because, didn't last time we almost forgot to rank the food?
Yeah.
Till the very end.
Now we're just making sure we don't skip it.
Yep. And you got to take the ale into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
It is ginger ale.
Yeah.
Not a real ale.
Yes.
But they drink ale multiple. That's probably another one of the more significant food things in the Lord of the Rings series is just there's a good amount of drinking across the whole thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So we had to include that with our main course. Oh, man, what am I going to give this rating?
I got mine if you want me to do mine.
You do yours.
Yeah, so mine's a 5.2. So I don't love it, I don't hate it, but I like it more than I hate it. So that's why it's really
Here's my rating
for me.
4.3.
Ooh, you don't like it too much?
I'm not a big vegetable beef soup type of person.
Yeah.
It's probably one of my least favorite types of soups.
What if it was, well, yeah, that's true. What if it was a rabbit, though?
I might like it more. I don't know.
Yeah. I've never had rabbit. And the thing is, this is going to be a side tangent, but the thing is, everyone, when they talk about game, when, like if it's rabbit or deer or anything like that,
squirrel,
you eat it and they're always like, yeah, it tastes gamey. It's like, okay, how do you describe gamey? Like, I'm just like, okay, I get it. It tastes gamey because it is game, but like what does where's
that mean?
Where's the, how do you?
I guess I don't eat enough of game to know what that tastes like off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think I understand after having enough of it to be like, okay, I get why they say it tastes gamey, but it's not a really, I don't know if it's necessarily a unique enough way to describe it,
Yeah.
But I like it. I mean, it's gamey.
Yeah. I just am not big on vegetables, beef soup type thing. Even if it were like super great, the best homemade vegetable soup, I still don't think I would be a huge fan.
Soups are kind of drifting away. Like, really, where can you get a good soup other than like Panera? But that's not even.
In my opinion, there's not very many good soups.
Yeah, soups used to be the talk of the town.
Everyone was talking about soups back in my day.
Man, you heard those new soups coming out?
Back in my day, there were so many soups.
But I see what you're saying. I mean, you could take it or leave it for sure.
And it's just bread.
Yeah.
It's no lembas bread.
Yeah.
And there's so many different.
I'm not a huge fan of the bread either.
Yeah, it's okay. There are some recipes online of like what people think the lembas bread might be, but it's all just approximations. It just I'm sure in the movies that when the actors are eating it that it's just some store-bought bread that
yeah, exactly, or some sourdough bread that someone made.
But anyway,
yeah.
I mean, it's fine. Honestly, what I'm trying to go back in my mind, this is one of the lower food rankings that I've given something, I think.
Might have been, well, I don't think it would have been the lowest because you probably had the lowest for the Zarg nuts.
Oh,
but I can't remember
pretty low for the Zark nuts.
I can't remember.
But the other thing with the Zark nuts is that drink. I still think
that's right. You ranked it with the drink.
I still think about that drink.
Yeah.
Man.
For standalone, this might be your lowest rating.
It might
maybe.
be.
We'll have to go back and kind of calculate.
But maybe some of our munchies will remember. I can't remember.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments or message us.
But yeah, so I guess we can get into this movie.
Yeah.
Do you want to give a little bit of a rundown?
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's so much happening in this episode just because we talked about last week where it was more uniform because you had the whole fellowship all together. Mm-hmm. Now that they're split up, what we kind of touched on this last episode is that you have these so many different side quests going on.
Yeah.
So a few notable ones. Frodo and Sam are still together, holding hands while they're skipping to Mordor, and they come across Gollum, and Gollum, he's more focused on the ring, but Sam and Frodo are able to just kind of tame him and kind of keep him at close proximity so he doesn't do anything sketchy. So they run into, their problems and stuff, and it's not super, super eventful from what I remember. They eventually run into Faramir, which is Boromir's brother. So they're kind of held with them for a while, but eventually, instead of what Boromir did, Faramir's, a little more understanding of the situation, and the ring doesn't overpower him. So he's eventually, at the very end of the movie, lets them go on their path and continue on. So that's essentially what happens with those three. You have Legolas, Gimli, and Aragorn. They end up finding what are they called? They're essentially the riders of Rohan, but they're called something completely different.
Yeah, and then there's the king.
Yeah, the king is
Theoden.
Theoden. Yeah,
Theoden.
Yeah, and he is actually, when you first meet him, he's under the spell of Saruman through the spy of Wormtongue. And Wormtongue is just this shady character who you just want to punch in the face the whole time you see him. But so you kind of see that struggle that King Theoden's going through, and that struggle. So you kind of see where Rohan's at their state of being, and so but eventually what happens is, spoiler alert again, I mean we already said that at the beginning, is Gandalf does become, I guess, resurrected as Gandalf the White.
Yeah.
And so Gandalf the White goes to Rohan, talks with the king, breaks the curse or the spell that Saruman has on. Theoden, rightfully so, wants to, kill Wormtongue, but Wormtongue gets away like a little slimy rat. And
you never see him again.
You never see him again. And pretty much what transpires for that part is they end up, was it... And forgive me, it's been a while since I've seen this, but it's the Uruk-hai who are essentially hunting them down, right? Oh, no, okay, so that's what happened.
I'm trying to remember.
So Aragorn was with those riders, whatever the name is. They thought Aragorn died because one of those, big lion-looking creatures, essentially ran off the cliff with Aragorn. Do you remember that part? And then, so they thought Aragorn was dead. But then Aragorn wasn't, but he saw tens of thousands of these Uruk-hai and which is the name of the orcs and goblins I was trying to figure out on last episode, but got them, and it essentially relayed the message to everyone else that, hey, these guys are coming. We need to figure out a plan. And I think that's what leads them to Helm's Deep, if I remember correctly. And so they pretty much hold down fort in Helm's Deep to fight off these Uruk-hai, and with the aid of the elves, who eventually, help them out later on. So that's kind of what's going on in that. And, you see the battles, bunch of epic battles. Really one of the biggest reasons why I love this movie so much is because of that battles.
Did you mention the little hobbits and the Ents?
No,
that's the other part.
Yeah, and then the other part, that's the one I was going to get to. But after they hold down Helm's Deep, Gandalf the White shows up with some more reinforcement. They just wipe out, and everything's good there. So that's pretty much what wraps up there. And I'm missing a lot of key elements, and it's probably like really bothering people who have seen this movie and seen this book of how quickly I'm going through, because you're probably thinking, oh, you're missing this part of the movie. It's like, okay,
it's 3 hours.
It's 3 hours. There's a lot to unpack. I'm just giving the really, really short rundown of it, so forgive me. But with Pippin and Merry, so Pippin and Merry were taken by the Uruk-hai or orcs, and they were heading to Isengard.
Yeah.
Which
but then they got away.
Yes,
and then Aragorn thought they were dead.
Yes. But I was gonna say, since you haven't seen this movie, you probably never even heard the song that came with that. They're taking the hobbits to Isengard. Have you ever heard that song? It was a huge
I feel like I have.
Yeah, so I'll have to show it to you after this because I don't know if we're allowed to play it. But it was a huge thing. But that's the whole thing, is when Legolas says they're taking the hobbits to Isengard. You see a picture of Legolas in that scene, and you even see memes nowadays. And it's where it's pictures don't have words, and then it shows this person, and you know exactly what he's gonna say and everything.
I feel like I've heard that before, but honestly, I can't.
It's kind of like it's similar to the and I don't know if you know this either, the puppets that came with Harry Potter, where it's Snape.
Yep.
So they're taking the hobbits to Isengard is kind of that equivalence. With YouTube it just popped off, and it probably has a crazy amount of views on YouTube. You can even check just the views to share. But they were taking the hobbits to Isengard. They escaped, and then they went into the woods. What are the woods called? It's the forest or whatever, where they met the Ents, who are these giant tree people.
Treeple.
Yeah, and they meet. Is it Treebeard?
Yeah.
So they meet Treebeard, and Pippin and Merry.
38 million views.
Yeah.
They're taking the hobbits to Isengard. 17 years ago, it was posted.
Oh yeah, it was big.
That's funny.
So they the Ents, they're with the Ents, and Pippin and Merry are trying to convince the Ents to help them. And so the Council of Ents are basically saying no, it's not our battle. We're gonna stay away. And I can't remember which one. It was either Pippin or Merry. It might have been Merry.
I think it was Merry.
Yeah, Merry was like, hey, let's change our course. Let's actually go to Isengard. And Treebeard's like, all right, whatever. And when they start heading to Isengard, they see a lot of the destruction of
the forest
is
burned down and
because of Isengard. And so that makes the Ents mad.
Now he's like, you kill my tree people.
Yeah, I kill you.
I kill you. And so he screams, and then all the other tree people come out of the woods, and they go to town. Go to town.
Yeah, and so pretty much what happens with that is they wipe out everyone. And kind of leaving Saruman stuck in the tower.
And so the Ents now they wanted at the very end they wanted Gandalf to kill Saruman or just get rid of him, but he's like, no, he needs to suffer essentially. So they're like, just leave him in the tower and just basically guard him. So
and that might be the last time you see Saruman. Yeah, you don't see him. You just know that he's stuck in the tower.
He's stuck in the tower, and all these Ents are essentially guarding him.
Yeah,
and
you don't want to mess with the Ents.
Yeah, and they would kill him pretty easily, I feel like.
Oh my gosh, Well, I don't know if it'd be easy.
Well, but with the sheer number of them alone.
True, yeah.
I mean, if it were maybe a few Ents, then he would probably be okay. But with the sheer number, I think he's easily outnumbered with their size and their and everything.
Yeah.
And which I think is actually one thing that I love about the Lord of the Rings universe is that there's no one person or creature or anything that seems way overpowered.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Sauron and Saruman are pretty like powerful. They're evil and everything. But even Sauron, the fact that he's not even like there, that he's just this tower, essentially his spirit is when.
Right.
The fact that he's like nerfed in that way is kind of nice because it evens the playing field a little bit. The fact that a few little hobbits and some other warriors can stand up against something so big and so powerful.
Yeah, true.
I think that's one thing that I find very interesting and cool about the Lord of the Rings universe is that nobody is like overpowered. Because I hate that sometimes when there's like one character that is like clearly overpowered and that they could just kill everybody if they wanted to, but either they can't for some stupid reason or they get overpowered by the good guys for some stupid reason.
Yeah.
Like some little thing that's like, okay, that seems dumb. Like that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
But everything seems pretty logical to an extent in this movie series.
Yeah.
Nobody's too powerful. You know, there's give and take on both sides. Obviously, eventually the good guys win, but a lot of innocent people died. A lot of warriors died. Frodo almost died, a few times.
Yeah.
Even, characters like Boromir, Gandalf technically died.
Aragorn was assumed dead when he slid off.
He was
the cliff.
assumed dead. But anyway, it seems like, like I said in the last episode, the whole universe feels grounded and feels real in a weird way, even though it is obviously all fake. And I think that's to the benefit of this, because if you lean too much on there's this overpowering person or evil person who has all of these powers that could just absolutely destroy everyone, but because of stupid reasons they can't.
Yeah.
I guess, for example, like a few episodes ago when we did Hocus Pocus, it's like these witches who have like electric powers and they she can like shock people and she can like throw people using like I don't know telekinesis
right
just like all these different things, and then just like they're nerfed for like some dumb reason at this like what was it, the cemetery, and these little kids shine the lights in their face and they're like, oh no, the lights are in our, just like dumb things like that. It's like, okay, you set up that this is a powerful person, and all of a sudden they're being absolutely destroyed by this 12-year-old.
Yeah.
And so I think that you could have maybe gotten that sort of sense from this. It's like, oh, Sauron's this huge, powerful thing, but his powers are limited.
Right.
And same thing with Gandalf, and same thing with Saruman, and same thing with just anybody in this. Nobody is like the ultimate power. Like even Gandalf, I feel like he's like up at the top in terms of power level. Just because Gandalf is there doesn't mean you're guaranteed to make it out of it.
True,
You know what I mean?
They showed that in the first
like,
one, really.
They showed that in the first one. They're like, oh, shoot, these group of people are vulnerable. They have one of the most powerful people in Middle-earth on their team, being Gandalf.
Right.
And they're still vulnerable. They can still lose. They can still have loss. And that is to a huge benefit of this, because you have that give and take on both sides, and it's not just one side beating down on the other.
Yeah.
And it's not one side getting nerfed for the sake of the story just so that they can move forward.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think a lot of the scenes, what we had talked about even in the last episode, is the ability that this movie has to really keep you in suspense and really keep you wanting more, essentially, at the end of it.
Yeah.
And I think one of the ways that they do that is really making you believe that there's almost no hope left, where like everything is going wrong and wrong and wrong, and then there's that like that moment that happens and takes place where it's kind of a relief where you're just like, okay, like now I can breathe kind of thing. And I think they do that in a great way. And I feel like a lot of films, do that, or at least in terms of like, I guess, adventure films like this. So, I mean, I think that's definitely something that Lord of the Rings does well.
So, I guess we can get to some spicy takes.
Yeah, go for it.
So I know I explained, and I'm going to give a reason for this. I know I explained in the first episode that Fellowship of the Ring is my favorite Lord of the Rings movie. My least favorite is The Two Towers.
Whoa.
Which is, I feel like, the opposite of what most people say.
Yeah, why is that?
Now, I want to preface this because anytime I've said this a couple of times to some people, and they're like, why didn't you like it? I'm like, I did like it. It's great. I'm just saying it's my least favorite. Just because it's my least favorite doesn't make it bad or that I don't like it.
Yeah.
You'll see in a minute I'm still going to rate it a very high movie.
Yeah.
But in general, I feel like the first 2 hours of the movie were very slow. Now, obviously, there's that last hour where there's the big battle. We get the satisfaction of the Ents going and destroying Saruman's kingdom. They have the whole big battle at Helm's Deep and everything. So cool to see all that. The last hour was super satisfying, and it was the best part of the movie. Arguably one of the best moments of the whole trilogy.
Yeah.
But the first 2 hours was just a lot of just nothing to me. Now, not nothing as in like I was bored, but I was just like, there was not a ton of action. There was a lot of talking and a lot of introduction of new characters, actually, with the whole thing about the king, and they had to go get him out of that curse. And then there's this other group of humans, and the humans don't get along, so the humans need to get along back again. And that's kind of what culminates in the last movie when there's now a new king. But anyway, the first couple hours of this movie, not saying it was bad, but it was just, I feel like it was just slow for me. And definitely picked up in the last hour, all those fight scenes, all the things that happened. Loved it. It was great. It was awesome. But I think that it doesn't weigh enough for me to want to say that this is the best one.
Oh, wow.
I'm saying it is the worst of the three.
Whoa.
But worst is still really good. I still really like it. I'm not going to skip it or anything if I'm going to watch a Lord of the Rings marathon. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's just, if I were to go back and think about all of these, it's actually my least favorite.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people like it because of that last scene, and because there's, I don't know, there's kind of just like feels kind of bad for the whole movie. Like a lot of bad happens. You know what I mean? Like the first one's on the up and up. It's like, okay, we're building a team. This is awesome. At the very end, it's not even really a climax in that anything is good. It's just that the team has now split off, and now you have that cliffhanger of what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
And then it just, in the second movie, everything just gets worse and worse because Saruman keeps getting more and more powerful. They keep getting, they're going to Helm's Deep, and it's looking more and more bleak. And then finally there's a satisfaction at the end, but it's still kind of like a bittersweet win of the battle.
Yeah.
I think that's why people like it, is because it's kind of a darker movie. I think it's the darkest of the three.
Yeah, I would say.
In terms of just like the feelings and the emotion of the entire thing.
Yeah.
Which is not bad. I'm not saying I don't like a dark movie, but it just was kind of slow in the beginning for me. So that's my spicy take.
Yeah, super spicy. Because mine might be spicy too, where I think it's the best of the three.
Okay, I feel like, I guess that's spicy to me, but according to like just in general ratings online, I think it's rated the highest.
It was either that or Return of the King.
It's highest in Rotten Tomatoes. It's let's see. Okay, IMDb Return of the King is technically higher.
Yeah.
But I guess it depends on what rating site you're going to. But on Rotten Tomatoes, Two Towers is the highest.
Yeah. I'm also looking at what it's...
And actually, the audience score for Return of the King is a lot lower than the audience score in Two Towers. It goes from 95 to 86.
Oh, from audience score?
86 is the audience score for the third one is 86.
Whoa.
And for the second one is 95.
Yeah. I also look at, and I mean, any form of, I guess, nomination or win should be taken into consideration because there's obviously a reason why they were put in the running to begin with. Mm-hmm. So for Two Towers, it did win 2 Oscars, which is the lowest Academy Awards for the 3 of the movies, but it had 138 nominations total and 132 wins. So
it's the most awards out of all of them?
No, it's the most nomination or more nominations than Return of the King, but Return of the King, if I'm not mistaken, has an insane. They I think broke records with the amount of awards that they got. I think
so, and it's still.
So they won.
They're still, I think, leading. Like,
yeah,
it's still the most awarded movie of all time. Right?
Do you know how many? Don't look it up. But do you know how many Oscars? If you could
for
guess.
Return of the King.
Yeah, for Return of the King. If you could.
How
guess.
many Oscars?
Yeah, just Oscars.
I feel like it was 8 or something.
11.
11.
Which is an insane.
That's insane for one movie.
For one movie, 11 Oscars. It says it has 215 wins and 124 nominations for Return of the King. So as far as awards go, Return of the Kings is the highest. But obviously,
So actually, Return of the King, Titanic, and Ben-Hur are all tied for 11 Oscars won. There you go.
And that's the highest ever?
Yep. Those are the 3 highest ranking or highest awarded movies, at least in terms of Oscars.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I've never seen Ben-Hur, and I feel I feel like I should have.
Yeah, I've never
I'll
seen
add it to the list.
Maybe we do that in an episode.
Yeah, we could.
But yeah, I'm just looking at it's actually a lot of older movies that won a lot of Oscars.
Yeah.
That are on the highest of the list. Slumdog Millionaire is in there.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
But
so
anyway.
yeah, so I mean, yeah, we're kind of on opposite ends of what we think about it, but I agree.
Yeah, because you said that Fellowship of the Ring is probably your least favorite, right?
Yeah, I think it is my least favorite.
So we're like exactly opposite.
Exactly.
Yeah, because then the Return of the King is in the middle for both of us. That's true. By default.
Yeah. So we are exact opposite. But I mean, like you said, and like we've said about other movies that we've reviewed, is that it's not saying we dislike it. We're just saying out of the 3, they are on the lower end. Mm-hmm. Two Towers is high end for me. My reasoning is because I disagree. I think it's entertaining the entire time. Just because
that's where you're wrong.
At the very beginning, you see, essentially what happens to Gandalf with Frodo's remembering it or visions of it or whatever. And so he's like already like you're in this battle like right away. And then you're introduced to Gollum, which I think Gollum needs to get a lot more credit than, well, I mean, they have been given credit. I don't want to make it seem like, he wasn't given credit. But the, what's his name?
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis did.
Andy Serkis goes hard.
An amazing job with this. And he was a no-brainer pick, if I understand correctly from like what Peter Jackson has said.
Well, but he also wasn't I don't think he was a very big name when these came out.
No.
He had some movies that he had been in, but nothing huge. This was the kind of the start of his big movie career, and then after this point, he became the name for motion capture acting.
Yeah,
and
so good at it.
Still is really
right.
Because he was the first person to do motion capture acting.
Yeah.
Gollum wasn't the first ever fully CG character, but from what I know, Gollum was the first motion capture acted out character.
Yeah.
That someone was wearing a motion capture suit, was on set and doing it, and then they put the CG in later. Yeah. And so
there's no character, especially in Two Towers, where I feel like someone is lacking. Everyone is on point.
That's true.
And that's
true for all 3 movies.
I was going to say I will get into this in Return of the King. There is one character in Return of the King that.
Ooh, should I try and guess?
No, we'll do it once we talk about Return of the King.
But you're saying there's one that you think is slacking on the acting?
Yes. Yeah. But
is it a major character?
I wouldn't say a major character. But he he is a recognizable character.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that, and maybe I'll try and guess.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in the next one. We can play
episode.
a game.
Yeah, because we still got one more episode
for the marathon.
This. Yeah.
But yeah, and like I said, so more touches on why I think this is the best out of the three. I think it ties in, and I always try to separate my nostalgia with my actual, view on a movie and if I think it's good and why I think it's good. But this is kind of one of the rare situations where my nostalgia also feeds on why it's so good, and why it's so good feeds on. So it's like kind of building up. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why with Two Towers specifically, it just builds up, and it does everything so right to me the entire time that, I can't say.
And it's hard to argue, because I'm not saying that they necessarily did anything wrong for this movie. Like, it is exactly what it needed to be. Yeah. It's just, it wasn't my cup of tea, and I thought it was a little bit slower at the beginning. Yeah. But you are right, though. I feel like, and I think I talked about this a touch on the first episode, they're just no misses on everything for this series. Mm-hmm. I would be curious, though. A lot of the special effects hold up pretty well after watching it in the year of our Lord 2023.
Yeah, I
they
agree.
hold up decently well, but there are obviously moments where you're like, okay, if this were made nowadays, it would look better. It would, but
in 2002, this was blowing our minds.
2002 is blowing minds, and but I would be curious to see them remaster these movies. I feel like a lot of fans would be outraged if they remastered them, but I'm not saying change anything else about the movies other than go through and change the special effects.
Right, yeah.
Because if you modernize the special effects, I think it would just be 1 inch more that is needed for these to be better for modern day. Now, obviously, back when these came out, I don't think that they obviously they couldn't get any better.
Right.
And it's still good today, still holds up. But if they could just be remastered, get that 1 extra inch of like realism, then I think it could be insane.
Yeah, that'd be
sick. Be awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's just I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean, it's there's so many good, obviously serious moments and relationships where you're just kind of like, okay, is it going to work out? Like, what's going to happen? Yeah. We didn't even really touch on Aragorn's love interest.
Yeah, and I think maybe we save that for the third one, because I've got some things I want to say about that.
Okay, yeah, we could do that.
Love interest. Because I think in the third one there's more of it.
Yeah, in a way.
It's just, but anyway.
Yeah, we can touch on that in the next one.
We can touch on that. We got to remember to talk about the character you thought was a bad actor.
Yeah, you might want to write it down.
Then we could talk about the love interest between Aragorn and
Erwin.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
It's kind of like what's the expensive place on the West Coast?
Erewhon.
Yeah. I think it's nowhere spelled backwards. But
Erewhon,
it reminds me of it. But another thing is and throughout the series you see this, but I think you see it a couple times in Two Towers, is the comedic relief of it. And one of the most iconic scenes in the Two Towers is when Aragorn has to throw Gimli. He's like, oh yeah, he's like, throw me.
Don't tell the elf.
Yeah. It's so funny.
Yeah, like I said last episode, Gimli is definitely your comic relief character.
Yeah,
but I'm glad that he's not too comic-y.
Right.
Because I think that could have ruined. I think that's what happens sometimes in some modern movies when they need to lean into more of the seriousness and focus on some other things, but then they just have some goofy characters that do goofy things.
Exactly.
And it ruins the mood half the time.
Yeah, and Gimli's not that at all.
Yeah, that can happen like with some, modern Marvel movies and things like that.
Yeah.
I think that's to the success of some Marvel movies that they leaned into the comedy of them. That's why Guardians of the Galaxy was so successful, is because it was action and it was funny. But like we had mentioned in the Guardians of the Galaxy 3, they're not shying away from emotions in that one. And they did very well in like focusing on other emotions other than haha funny.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so you have Gimli as a and really Gimli and Legolas a little bit as like a comedy duo in some moments.
Yeah.
But it's never forced and it's never distracting. It's just adding onto it, and it's a little bit of a relief rather than, okay, you know, it could have gotten to the. I feel like a lot of times when writing these, it could get to a point where you're just kind of like, okay, this character's annoying at this point.
Right.
We don't need a funny haha moment in this. Someone just died or something, and then they're like, haha, he should have taken his vitamins or you know whatever. Something stupid like that. And you're like, okay, just shut up. You know?
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing that was very good, is that there is that comic relief, but it's not forced, and it's not over the top, but it is still funny and it's relieving.
Yeah. Because you can always tell when movies try too hard.
Yeah.
With Gimli's character, it just felt that was just him not trying too hard. You know, it's just him just being like just Gimli. You know, and not trying to put in like zingers or anything.
Yeah, but then he also had his moments where he has insightful things to say.
Exactly.
And good, because sometimes a character could fall into the trap of they are just the funny person.
Right, exactly.
And they have nothing that adds value in terms of their dialogue and what they do and what they say.
Yeah.
And Gimli keeps his value throughout.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He's so tough. But yeah, he's definitely one of my characters. And then another moment in the movie where because you're all they're dealing with essentially civilians who they had to learn how to fight to hold off Helm's Deep because they just needed the numbers, and you have that one civilian or one of the people who accidentally like launches the arrow, which essentially starts it off. I thought that was kind of a funny moment, but it's also kind of a scary moment because you're just like, I didn't mean to do that, you know, but I at first thought it was kind of funny, but then I was like, oh shoot, this might kill them all.
Yeah. It started it all when they weren't ready.
Yeah. But thankfully it didn't, and we have a different outcome, but so I'm
ready to rate.
I'm ready to rate.
I guess I'll go ahead and go. I'm giving this movie an 8.9.
Nice.
So, I noted that last episode I gave a 9.3.
Yeah.
So I have to go less because this is my least favorite.
I noted.
So 8.9, but it's still very good.
I noted that my for Fellowship was a 9, and so this is my highest rating of the 3. So you can probably guess what this is, or based off what this is, what the Return of the King is going to be. But yeah, 9.2.
Oh, there you go.
So you know probably exactly what Return of the King is going to be. But 9.2 for Two Towers. All 3 of them are going to be over 9s, and if you have 3 movies in a trilogy over 9s, you're doing something right. Yeah. So they. Yeah.
I thought about I honestly almost put it at a 9 to do almost the same thing.
Yeah.
9.0. 9.3 and then
But you're pretty close because you and I could rate it almost exactly the same in Return of the King. Yeah. Possibly. We'll see.
Well, what did you have as... Actually, I think we might.
Yeah.
Spoiler alerts.
Alerts for ourselves that we don't even know if it's true.
That we don't know if it's true, but I think it might be.
I wrote down the Cinesnacks already, so...
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Man, we're going at it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we're getting the Cinesnacks.
But this was also the Cinesnack that I chose. It's also one that I'm trying to ask myself if I've done it before. I can't remember.
Done the movie for a Cinesnack?
Right. So
why don't you just tell me and I'll let you know?
No, it's okay. And then we'll reveal what the punishment is.
Don't forget to get your 3 hints, your 3 clues.
Yeah, 3 clues, 2 minutes on the clock. I am the one who is going to answer. You're going to ask the questions.
Yep.
So I have my clues in the back of my mind.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to give those to you once.
We're just going to go right into it. Are you...
Let's do it.
Am I ready?
Are you ready? I'm ready.
I don't know if I'm ready.
Wait, hold on. I'm not ready. Okay, I'm almost ready. All right. I just had to get another timer on.
Here we go.
You ready? Don't be nervous.
I'm so nervous. Hey, but last time I got it.
Yeah.
And then you got it.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
not
true.
Last time, 2 times ago. Last time I did it.
Yeah, 2 episodes ago. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Well, let's ease into Ready, Set, Go.
All right. 2000s?
Yes.
Okay. Is it a comedy?
No.
Drama?
No.
Action?
No.
Adventure?
No.
Romance?
No.
Is it an animation?
No.
Is it a musical?
No.
Is it a sports movie?
No.
What am I? I'm naming every genre. Is it like a thriller or a horror movie?
Yes.
Okay, finally, like a thriller.
You got one.
Is it of a very well-known director?
Yes.
Is it a Tarantino movie?
No.
Martin Scorsese?
No.
The Coen brothers?
No.
I'm trying to think of any other directors. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Shoot. So a 2000s thriller is it a male lead?
Yes.
White male lead?
Yes. We always pick movies that have the 1 minute left.
Is there a love interest in the movie?
I want to say no.
Okay,
but
so
kinda.
Is it? Oh, clue. Give me a clue.
Oh yeah, sorry. Photo.
Photo. Give me another clue.
Tattoo. Do you know?
Is it? I can't think of the director's name. Is there? I don't want to.
Did that give it away?
I feel like give me another clue.
But if it gave it away,
well, but I need I can still get a third clue.
Well, the other clue I think will definitely give it away.
Okay, then don't say it to me.
Okay.
Let me see if I can. Well,
if you feel like you already got it.
What's the director's name? I'm looking this up. Is it directed by Christopher Nolan?
Yeah, I think you got it.
Yeah, I definitely got it.
Yeah, but I haven't done this.
I couldn't
one before,
think of
right?
Chris. I don't think you have.
Okay,
but we've talked about this movie.
Yeah.
Dang,
I should have done something we haven't talked about. Have you seen it before?
Yes, I have seen this movie
It's
that
great.
I'm about to write.
If
it might be different. It's a Christopher Nolan movie with tattoos and photos, white male lead, and it's a thriller.
Yeah. I think that completely gave it away. It's a great movie.
Honestly,
too, by
I
the
think
way. I didn't show them what it
honestly,
is, but I'll
the
reveal.
photo, I think I probably would have gotten it just from that.
Yeah.
If I asked some more questions, I really stopped asking questions after you said tattoos.
Yeah.
All right. Is it Memento?
It is Memento.
Yes,
you got
let's
it.
Go.
The other one was going to be Memory, but I forgot we had talked about this before. So
yeah,
I was like,
we had talked about this movie, but we've talked about a lot of movies, so whatever.
Hard to remember.
Yeah, great movie.
Dang it! I should have picked something else.
Actually, I think we had talked about doing this as an episode of the show.
Could have been. Yeah, that's probably why I thought that we did it before, but we didn't actually.
Do it.
Dang. Okay. Well, the punishment isn't too crazy, but it goes along with the marathon.
All right.
So pretty much what's going to happen since I lost and you won, you are going to be crowned the king.
I am the king.
Yeah, for the
Return of the King
episode. So you will be the king the entire time. However, next episode. However, anytime in the next episode you want me to do like a jester dance, I'm going to be
You're my jester.
Yeah. So I don't know what that's going to look like on my end. I'll have to figure it out. But anytime you say, I don't know, we can make something up. But anytime you say something, I have to do like a jester jig.
Yes.
So
my jester.
Yeah.
Get up and dance.
In the next episode.
He's like, I'm not doing it right now.
We'll do it in the next episode.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you could do something like that.
So I guess this is I guess you have to tune in to the next episode to see
another
the
thing,
punishment.
Do you remember the what was it? It was the commercial with I think it was a Skittles commercial. The berries and cream. So maybe something like that. Okay, we'll talk about it in the next episode. I'll show you the video. I'll show you the video.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll show you the video, but that's
as we conclude this epic episode of CineBites, where we've continued our journey through Middle-earth with The Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. We've hoped you've relished the cinematic and culinary delights as much as we have. Just as the bonds of the fellowship grow stronger, so does our love for the connection between film and food. Thank you for joining us today. Stay tuned for more cinematic flavors coming in upcoming episodes. Make sure to follow us on YouTube and Instagram, and hear our podcast weekly on all major podcast platforms. Until next time,
bon appetit and happy viewing.